couple things I want to tell you. One, 3 arrests in the Georgia Tech violence, only one of them a student. Kids are getting hurt at daycare. Where's the videotapes of all of this? And a 7.1 earthquake in Mexico City, the death toll over 130. It's time for the late feed. Tonight I want to start the show by talking about what happened last night and trying to figure out how and why this scene erupted on the campus of Georgia Tech. And you can see the police car on fire. All of this happened after the shooting death of Scout Schultz. Now, what I want to do tonight is kind of go through the time frame of what happened yesterday. So there was a vigil last night. That's how everything started. But it ended this way, violently. It began in a very, very different way. Now, I want to take you back in time to how this whole situation began. It began with a phone call, a 911 call. That 911 call was made by Scout Schultz.
Georgia Tech Police, how can I help you?
Hey, I'm over at West Village. It looks like there's somebody like skulking around outside. It looks like he's got a knife in his hand. I think he might have a gun on his hip.
Okay, West Village.
Looks like he might be drunk or something.
Give me a description of he, sir.
Got long blonde hair, white t-shirt, jeans.
Long blonde hair, white t-shirt, and jeans. Okay. White male, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at West Village, where is he? What is he next to?
He's just like right across West Village, just on the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk?
Walking kind of slow.
Okay. You want to leave your name in case we got any more questions, sir?
Sure. Scott Schultz.
And that call was made by Scout Schultz, the student who was shot and killed. And this is the video of that. We're not going to show you the shooting, but this was the situation as it was that night. Scout Schultz is the one who made the call. Scout Schultz is the one that's dead. Let me do this. Let me go back again to last night. It all started last night peacefully, but this is how it ended, and ended in a really violent scene on the campus of Georgia Tech. You see police chasing young people down the street. Well, let's go back again to how it all began, folks. Let's go back to the vigil. I mean, candles, students speaking, trying to pay tribute to their lost classmate, their lost friend. How did it go, though? This is the real question tonight. How did it go from this peaceful vigil to the violence? I want to bring in Ron Jones, because, Ron, you were there last night.
Yeah.
At Georgia Tech.
And no one saw this coming. No one saw this coming at all, Vinny. We got there around 8 o'clock last night, and about 100 people, maybe more, were there. Peaceful, as you just pointed out. You saw students, you saw faculty members, you also saw maybe some parents, some other adults there, and they were honoring Scout Schultz. They were honoring him. A lot of sobbing. Not only did you hear a lot of sobbing, and not only did you hear a lot of crying, and of course you heard speeches and you heard music as well, but also you saw that they were paying tribute to Scout. Now, about an hour later, less than an hour later, things began to change. Let's go straight to that video. And this is what happened. It all changed, we would say, around from 8 o'clock. It went from 8 o'clock, and then for the next video we're going to show here, around 8:58, that's when everything changed. You can see the crowd was beginning to get a lot more agitated when this was developed.
So how big was the crowd there that night?
I would say hundreds of people were there at that time. You know, but I would say at least 30 to 40 people began to speak out because they were really concerned about the police relationship with the students there, and also mental health issues as well. And then after that, 8:58, then a group of folks, I would say 30 or 40 of them, they began to march. They began to march directly to the Georgia Tech police station. While they were at the Georgia Tech police station, 9:22, that is when the first social media video began to erupt. And of course, this is the scene here, a police vehicle on fire. And then shortly after that, Vinny, you start to see the arrest. And you notice that a few police officers were injured and 3 people were arrested. But no one saw this coming.
All right, 9:22 is when all this happened. Ron, I appreciate that. I want to show some video again from the beginning of the night, from the vigil, because there were people speaking. including some students. We have one of those students with us here tonight on our panel, and I want to introduce everyone that we have with us in our think tank tonight. I want to begin, Natisha Lance, late feed, we know her, and Julia Gray. And I know this is an emotional night for you. This is not going to be easy. I appreciate you being here tonight. Also with us, Dr. Tiffany Henry. She's a licensed psychotherapist sitting right next to Julia tonight. And Larry Wax, you know him from the Regular Guy Show, 2 to 5 on 106.3 and 1230 The Fan 2. Great to have you. Julia, let me start with you. You were there last night, and we saw how things ended. How did it go from what you were doing, speaking to everyone, to how it ended? Do we know?
I mean, does it matter?
Okay, why is it important for you to be here tonight?
My friend died, and my friend shouldn't be dead. People were hurt last night. They shouldn't have been hurt. What's wrong with this situation is people asking whether or not Scout was a victim. It's talking about whether or not the police are the victims here. The victim and the oppressor isn't this group of people, and it isn't Scout. It's this systemic problem in Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech being a microcosm of greater society that is the one to blame here. And there's more that can be done so that people don't have to hurt. I mean, we're all people here.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, regardless of whether or not you think, regardless of what you think about transgender people or Scout or the police, I think that it should be a universal truth that when people hurt, it's not a good thing. And people
I think we can all agree on that point, and I know you're hurting tonight. People
at Georgia Tech are hurting. I'm just here to represent the students at Georgia Tech, because the thing is that the police at Georgia Tech, I don't think they're bad people. I mean, they're a part of our community, and I really don't think that cop woke up that morning with the intention to shoot my friend. And I don't think that the man who shot Scout should have had to. He should have had a non-lethal option. We should have better mental health resources at Georgia Tech, so Scout never had to get to that point to begin with. There needs to be crisis intervention for the police at Georgia Tech. There needs to be better training with this crisis intervention. There needs to be better mental health resources. Did you know that we only have 16 sessions at the Georgia Tech Counseling Center? And that the counseling center is severely understaffed? That the LGBT Resource Center that Scout and other people use, it's a room that was changed from a broom closet, from a supply closet, into an office for one person. And the thing is, if you look up any other top university, you will see, if you look for the right search term, you'll see that they have gender-neutral bathrooms. And the thing is, Georgia Tech locks theirs at night, and that's only one building. They don't have gender-neutral bathrooms. They don't have gender-inclusive housing. And the thing is, there is so much Georgia Tech could be doing. There is so much more with regards to mental health. There is so much more they could do with regard to the counseling center.
Can we do this? I want you to take a deep breath. You're getting your points across.
Bud Peterson and Georgia Tech is failing the students.
Okay.
They are failing the students with what they're doing. They're just wanting to return to the status quo. And the thing is, if we return to the status quo, more people are going to keep hurting. People are hurting right now at Georgia
Dr.
Tech.
Absolutely.
This is real pain.
Absolutely.
People at Georgia Tech.
Anyone that's here with us tonight, that's watching this show, we are here with you, and we feel your pain.
And one of the reasons we're doing,
we don't want you to have to experience this anymore. No other student should have to experience what Scout experienced and what you are experiencing right now.
I'm not in the same place as Scout.
What are things that the schools can be doing to help students right now?
Well, I think you are absolutely right. I think that there has to be more resources. There has to be more open and honest dialogue about what the needs of all students are.
Can we pull it back 1 second?
Yeah,
because she said something that's really important.
Sure.
I want Larry on this. She's not blaming the police officer.
I'm not.
You're not
They're
blaming
people.
Let's talk about what happened that night. Do you think that the police officers there should have different resources, different training to somehow prevent a situation like that?
I wasn't there either. I just saw the videotape like everybody else. But I think you're asking the wrong question, Vinny. The question is, why are we talking about the police at all? They were just doing their job.
No,
and as Julia said,
we're talking about the police because they didn't have an option. They might have had an option, but they perceived a risk, and they did what they thought they had to do to neutralize that risk. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that they should have more than just the option of a gun.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to feel like they have to put their lives at risk to stop someone who isn't even a threat in reality, even if they made themselves out to be one. They didn't want to hurt anyone, and that's pretty obvious from the video,
Julia,
and that's pretty obvious from
me
knowing Scout. And the thing is, they need something, and I'm not sure, I'm not someone who is an expert in law enforcement, but they need an option, like a taser or something.
They don't have, a lot of people have been talking about tasers. They don't have tasers. They don't have tasers. They do have batons.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
They don't have pepper spray. I don't think those cops had pepper spray.
Let's have Larry ask.
The cops are the cops. Now, I would like to ask the people who are complaining about the cops and about society and burning cars, this is insanity. Where's your role in this? If you loved Scout Schultz, where were you when you knew he had a mental health issue?
Hey, no, don't say he. I just want to say that that's
when it had a mental health issue.
Did you just say it?
Let's be respectful.
I'm going to talk about this right now. You know, you're.
All right, Julie, we're gonna have more time. We'll talk after the show. We'll go online and we'll talk.
No, this is important to talk about right here, right now.
Because gotta get to a commercial.
One of the problems that
Julie, I have to go. I have to go. Just relax. We're not shutting you down. We let you talk a lot. We're going to continue to have the conversation. Okay. But there's
and it is a very important point that you're trying to make.
We'll be back with more. You understand how emotional this is, and we appreciate everyone coming here and sharing their viewpoints. We're going to continue the show right after this.